brand new session of LambdaTest Tunnel. Most of you might be thinking that up till now what we were discussing were around public URLs, public application that can be accessed all around the world. But what if we want to access an application that is behind a firewall, cannot be accessed publicly, or can only be accessed on the internet? Or even if it is a localhost application. So for this particular use case, if you want to test out any of these applications on the LambdaTest platform, we have built a utility we like to call as Tunnel. Tunnel is nothing but it creates a secure SSH connection between your network and the LambdaTest device on which your application or web app is currently being running. How we can configure or start this tunnel is very simple. On the top right side, you can see a configure tunnel option, which as soon as you click, you'll get two options to connect to tunnel. One is the command line, where you can simply download this file, which is a binary file that can be downloaded into your folder. From that folder, you just need to extract that file and run this particular command by traversing into that folder, and you'll be able to access the tunnel. And then second is a desktop app, which is a much more intuitive way to use the tunnel, and we like to call it as UnderPass. In order to demonstrate how the tunnel works, I'll quickly be using the desktop app we like to call as UnderPass. I already have the UnderPass application open on my system, and how easy is it to configure the UnderPass is by simply entering in the LambdaTest username or credentials, username and access key onto the UI. From where you can get the username and access key is either from this command line, you'll get both the username or access key, or you can even get it from the profile section or from any of the automation dashboards by clicking on the key or the access key icon. Once you have the username and access key, you can basically put any name of your choice for the tunnel and then simply click on start to launch the tunnel. However, before launching the tunnel, I would like to also go through some of the features that the tunnel has. You can see here. First one is shared tunnel. So let's say if one of the tunnel that you're running, you executed that tunnel on a server which has a very high speed, and all of the team members would like to use that same tunnel. In that case, for any of the team member to use the shared tunnel, you need to enable the shared tunnel flag. The verbose is to basically get the detailed logging for each request that is passed through tunnel. MITM basically stands for man in the middle. So for example, if you have applications or websites which do not have a public certificate and cannot be opened on public browser, so for those cases, MITM will automatically handle those. Then on the advanced configurations, we also have proxy host, proxy port, proxy user, and proxy password. Let's consider a situation where you need a proxy to be configured, and only through that proxy you will be able to use the application. So Tunnel gives you the capability to do that as well, where you can enter in your proxy's proxy host, her port number, and if it's a protected proxy, then you can also add in the username and password in order to connect to the proxy and then finally connect to the application that is behind that proxy. Also, from the tunnel, you can directly access your local directory. That is, you can directly pass in the local server directory path and directly accessing any of the web applications here. So for example, if your current web app is under development and you have not published it and it's still in your local directory or a local server, you can simply pass in the file path or directory path of that server here, and you can directly access that folder on the LambdaTest browsers to see how your local application looks and feels like on a browser. So now I'll quickly click and start the tunnel. I'll just disable these for now, and I'll simply click on launch. As soon as I click on launch on my UI, you'll be able to see that in a few seconds it has went to running state. And if I go back to my dashboard and refresh the page, on the top right where I see the configure tunnel, you'll be able to see now one tunnel running. Now, in order to demonstrate how this tunnel works, I already have my local server running, and which is on port 8000. And if I go to my browser, I already have that opened up here. Now, if I copy this URL, and let's say I want to open it up in one of the LambdaTest devices. So I'm going into real-time testing under browser testing, and then I'll add the URL here. This is a drop-down which you need to use whenever you have the tunnel. So just to demonstrate, I'll first disable the tunnel for once, select a browser, let's say Chrome 103, Windows 10, and simply click on start. So here you'll be able to see that as soon as the browser launches, it should throw us an error because the localhost application that is running, that cannot be accessed here because it's running on my local system, and this particular system, which is currently resting in a data center, does not have an idea of where this localhost 8000 call should go. However, as soon as I'll end the session, and in this time I'll connect to the tunnel and I'll relaunch the same session again. Now you can see that the same localhost application that was working on my local is now getting accessed on LambdaTest as well. In the same similar manner, any of the applications that you're currently running locally or is behind a VPN or cannot be accessed publicly can be tested out on any of the LambdaTest browsers, real devices by using tunnel. LambdaTest tunnel can also be used in automation testing as well. And in case of automation testing, the only thing that you need to do is use a capability. So for capability, go to an automation dashboard, for example. From here, I'll open the capability generator. And if I scroll down, here you can see there's a capability called local or tunnel. You just need to turn this on, which will in turn return a capability called tunnel is equal to true. So to run any of your automation test cases, may it be browser automation on real devices, browser automation on desktops, or on emulator simulators, or even app automation, if there are some files or some API calls that can only be made when it's behind a VPN, or the complete website can only be accessed when it's behind a VPN, you just need to pass in the capability tunnel true and start your tunnel, and all of the tests that will run with the tunnel true capability will be able to access your local application. I hope this session was helpful. In case you have any questions on the LambdaTest tunnel, please feel free to reach out to the LambdaTest support or drop an email at support@lambdatest.com.